Betrayal cuts deepest when it comes from those closest to us. For a man who had given everything, his youth, his health, and his soul, to serve his country, the last thing he expected was treachery waiting at home. While he fought battles in distant deserts and jungles, he imagined love and loyalty standing strong behind him. But when he returned, scarred yet proud, he uncovered a truth more vicious than any enemy he had faced in uniform. His wife, the woman he protected with every heartbeat, and his own blood brother, the boy he once carried on his shoulders, had carved knives into his back. What followed wasn't just revenge. It was a brutal reckoning no one would forget. The veteran's story began far from betrayal. His name was Michael Harris, a small-town kid raised under the strict discipline of a father who had been a factory worker and a mother who taught in the local school. From childhood, Michael carried an unshakable sense of duty. When others played baseball in the summers, he trained his body and pushed his limits, chasing the dream of one day wearing the uniform of a soldier. By his 20s, he achieved it. He became a Marine, one of the toughest. His service spanned deserts in the Middle East, rough terrains in Asia, and years that blurred into one another. His body took hits, his mind carried shadows, yet his heart held a steady fire. He wasn't only fighting wars abroad, he was fighting to build a future for the family he cherished back home. That family was his wife, Emily. They had married young, their love beginning as high school sweethearts. Emily had been his anchor, the girl who promised him loyalty no matter where duty called. Their love was the kind celebrated in small towns, pure, enduring, unshaken by distance. Or so he believed. Then there was Daniel, Michael's younger brother. 3 years apart, they had grown up inseparable. Michael taught him how to ride a bike, defended him from bullies, and cheered at his high school games. When Michael enlisted, Daniel admired him, calling him a hero. Michael never doubted his brother's devotion. Over the years, while Michael was deployed, he imagined home as a place frozen in time, his wife waiting, his brother supporting her, and the warmth of loyalty binding them all. In his letters, he wrote of sacrifice, of nights spent under fire, of dreams where he saw their faces guiding him through chaos. Emily responded with words of love, Daniel with words of admiration. To Michael, home remained sacred, a reason to endure. But war was cruel. By the time Michael retired after 15 years of service, he returned with scars invisible to most. His knees ached, his back burned, and sleep rarely came without nightmares. Yet through it all, he clung to one belief, that loyalty at home was untouched. His small town welcomed him back with parades and gratitude. Strangers shook his hand, children saluted him, and his name carried respect. But behind those smiles, in the shadows of his own home, betrayal already festered. Michael was a man of routine. He woke early, exercised lightly, and tried to adjust to civilian life. Emily worked at a local office, while Daniel, who had never left town, dropped by often, offering to help. To outsiders, they seemed like a tight-knit family. But Michael began to notice subtle fractures. Emily's laughter seemed forced, her phone guarded, her eyes avoiding his. Daniel grew strangely distant, yet oddly present, hanging around more often than usual. At first, Michael dismissed these as the paranoia of a veteran adjusting back to normal life. But unease lingered. He had trusted his life to fellow soldiers in combat, and trust was sacred. To doubt his wife or his brother felt like betrayal of his own values. Still, the silence between them grew heavier. One night, unable to sleep, Michael sat at the kitchen table, staring at the medals and folded flag that represented years of sacrifice. He thought of the promises he had kept. The lives he had risked, the loyalty he had never broken. He whispered to himself, loyalty is everything. What he didn't yet know was that those very words would soon be twisted into the blade that cut him the deepest. The first undeniable crack appeared on a rainy evening. Emily had claimed she was working late, but when Michael passed by her office on his way home from a veterans meeting, the lights were off. He didn't confront her immediately. Instead, he went home, sat silently, and waited. Hours later, she slipped in, startled to see him awake. She gave excuses, claims of paperwork in a different department, a late dinner with colleagues, but her eyes betrayed her. Michael wanted to believe her. He forced himself to. After all, this was Emily, the woman who had sent him care packages to war zones. But suspicion gnawed at him. Days turned into weeks. He noticed Daniel and Emily exchanging glances, conversations ending abruptly when he entered the room, and excuses piling up like bricks of deception. Daniel often visited when Michael wasn't home, claiming to check on Emily. The veteran's instincts, honed in war zones where sensing danger meant survival, screamed that something was wrong. The truth came brutally, almost accidentally. One afternoon, Michael's truck broke down outside town. He decided to walk home, cutting through back streets. As he neared his house, he saw Daniel's car parked in the driveway. Odd, since Daniel had said he was heading to the city. Michael's chest tightened, his steps slowing. He moved silently, like on patrol, every nerve on edge. Through the half-open bedroom window, he saw what no soldier was ever prepared to face, his wife and his brother, entwined, their betrayal shameless under his roof. Time froze. The man who had faced bullets without flinching felt his knees weaken. He backed away, his breath shallow, his vision narrowing. A storm raged inside him, rage, grief, disbelief, all crashing together. He wanted to storm in, to tear down the walls with his fury, but something deeper held him back, the cold, disciplined patience of a soldier. Michael didn't confront them that day. He walked away silently, his heart bleeding. But silence didn't mean surrender. He knew the art of war, and betrayal had declared war upon him. Over the next weeks, he watched them closely. Emily grew colder, Daniel bolder. They thought their secrets safe, their lies unbreakable. But Michael gathered evidence, photographs, financial records, whispered conversations caught when they thought he slept. Piece by piece, he built the truth like a case file, not out of obsession but out of duty to justice. The betrayal deepened when he discovered not just infidelity but theft. Daniel had manipulated finances, convincing Emily to funnel parts of Michael's retirement savings into accounts under his name. What began as emotional betrayal had grown into financial ruin, stripping Michael of the very security he had earned through sacrifice. The injustice was complete. The woman he loved and the brother he trusted had not only stolen his heart, they had stolen his life's work. The rising storm inside him no longer asked if he should act. It asked only how. Revenge, to Michael, wasn't impulsive rage. It was strategy. He approached it as he would a military mission, planned, calculated, merciless. The first step was patience. He allowed them to grow comfortable, to believe their lies had blinded him. Emily spoke of business trips, Daniel bragged about opportunities, and Michael played along. He let them laugh, let them betray in plain sight, while he mapped his plan. He withdrew quietly from the joint accounts, protecting what remained of his savings. He secured the house deed, knowing financial leverage would matter later. He visited lawyers discreetly, gathering knowledge of divorce laws, inheritance rights, and criminal charges for fraud. His every move was precise, like assembling a weapon piece by piece. But Michael's revenge wasn't limited to legal justice. He wanted them to feel what he had felt, to know despair, to taste the destruction they had fed him. The breaking point arrived on their wedding anniversary. Emily suggested going out for dinner, an unusual gesture given her recent coldness. Michael agreed, masking his suspicion. But when the night came, she cancelled last minute, claiming illness. Hours later, Daniel's car was spotted outside a motel at the edge of town. Michael followed silently, parked at a distance, and watched them enter a room together. His fury surged, but he didn't storm in. Instead, he recorded evidence, videos, timestamps, undeniable proof. Then he left, his face expressionless, his heart hardened into steel. The trap was ready. Weeks later, Michael invited both Emily and Daniel to the house under the pretense of discussing family finances. They arrived unsuspecting, unaware that hidden cameras recorded every word. Michael presented the evidence calmly: photos, bank transfers, motel videos, each piece dropped like a bomb. Emily's face drained of color, Daniel stuttered, but Michael remained silent, letting the weight of their sins crush them. Then came his final move. He revealed that he had already filed for divorce, transferring all marital assets under protection, leaving Emily with nothing but shame. He exposed Daniel's fraud to the authorities, ensuring criminal charges. The brother who had once leaned on him for protection now faced prison, stripped of dignity. But Michael's revenge didn't stop at legal ruin. In a small town, reputation was survival. He leaked the evidence strategically, not to tabloids, but to whispers in church gatherings, veterans' halls, and community circles. Soon, Emily and Daniel became pariahs, shunned by neighbors, avoided by friends. Their betrayal, once hidden, now defined them. The climax wasn't loud or violent, it was surgical, devastating, and final. Michael, the soldier, had won his most personal war. In the aftermath, silence returned to Michael's home. The walls no longer echoed with Emily's laughter or Daniel's presence. The emptiness was heavy, but it was an honest emptiness, free of lies. Michael rebuilt slowly. He dedicated himself to helping other veterans, sharing his story of betrayal and survival. He turned pain into purpose, mentoring younger soldiers adjusting to civilian life. His name, once tied to humiliation, rose again with honor. Emily moved away, her reputation destroyed, her life a shadow of what it once was. Daniel served his sentence, his pride crushed, his future broken. They had betrayed loyalty, and loyalty had destroyed them. But Michael carried scars. Revenge hadn't erased the hurt, it had only balanced the scales. Nights still brought memories, mornings still felt colder. Yet he found strength in knowing he had not been defeated. He often stood by the folded flag in his living room, the one given to him for years of service. He thought of loyalty, the kind soldiers shared in battle, the kind he once believed unbreakable at home. Betrayal had taught him its cost, but also its power. In the end, Michael left his audience, those who heard his story, with a single thought. When loyalty is broken, is revenge justice, or just another battlefield where no one truly wins? And perhaps the deeper question lingered. If the people closest to us can become the sharpest knives, how do we ever learn to trust again?